Philadelphia Phillies are playing their best baseball of the year just at the right time. And while I think the NL East is pretty much locked up for the Phillies, there's another number that I think is more important for the team right now that they certainly have their eye on come the postseason. We're going to get into all of that today on the newest episode of Phillies Digest. And yes, like I said, the Phillies are playing great baseball right now. They are first two games against the Mets. They now hold a 9-game lead in the NL East over the New York Mets. 85-60 for your Phillies with a .586 winning percentage, and 76-69 with a .524 winning percentage for the New York Mets. 9 games back of the Phillies with 17 games to go. And yes, the Phillies' first goal of every season is to make the playoffs and then to win the NL East. That is the first goal. Obviously, the magic number is now 9. They have a 9-game lead in the division. The magic number to win the NL East is 9, meaning every time the Phillies win, it goes down 1, and every time the Mets lose, it goes down 1. But I think there's a little bit of a more important number that we need to be keeping our eye on as far as magic numbers. And yes, but I think everybody knows the NL East is pretty much wrapped up at this point. It's safe to say 17 games to go, 9-game lead. The Phillies would have to basically play a bunch of games under 500, and the Mets would have to win out the next 16, 17 games for them to win. So let's just about call this NL East race toast. There we go. But the more important number for me right now is that bottom number on the screen here from Phillies Nation. Obviously, magic numbers after last night's game: 7 to make the postseason, 9 to win the NL East. But the biggest one for me is 14, and it's that first round bye, meaning the Phillies would not have to play a wild card series. They'd be able to set up their rotation just how they want it, and they would not have to need a 4th starter until a potential Game 4 of the NLCS, the NL Championship Series, not the Divisional Series, meaning if the Phillies get the first round bye, probably with the Brewers, they would not need a 4th starter until Game 4 of the NLCS. If you kind of look down this NLDS schedule, right, it sets up nice for the Phillies. 5-game series, but Game 1 comes on Saturday, October 4th. Game 2 on Monday, October 6th. Game 3, Wednesday, October 8th. Game 4 here would be Thursday, October 9th, meaning a 5-day difference in that Game 4 from Game 1. And Saturday, October 11th, would be a 5-day difference from Monday, October 6th. That is the biggest thing for the Phillies right now, is that if they were to end up not getting the bye, they would have to play the wild card round, and then they would go right into the NLDS. They would have to use a 4th starter, and then they would kind of get into the conversation of who throws that start. Obviously, Aaron Nola looked really good the other night, but it's just one good start for now, right? He needs to show a few more, I think, just so the Phillies are certain that he's good and ready to go. But obviously, the other night was a great step in the right direction in the series opener. But, that first round bye is huge. And when you look, once again, down the magic number list here, 14 for that first round bye. And you go and look at the National League, right? It's, the Brewers sit at the top, 89-57. The Phillies are next at 85-60. You can take the Cubs out of this first round bye conversation because obviously they're in the NL Central with the Brewers. So it's basically like the Cubs are under the Dodgers at this point for the first round bye. Phillies hold a 4-game lead right now with 17 games to go on the Los Angeles Dodgers. It is a big number with 17 to go. That is a healthy gap that the Phillies and Dodgers have right now. And the Dodgers have not been playing good baseball. This was a stat from September 4th, so there's been 4 or 5 games here, but since July 4th on September 4th, a 2-month difference. The Dodgers have the 4th worst record in baseball, 22-29 since July 4th. That was tweeted on September 4th. And, it kind of feels like they're sleepwalking here. I don't know. Maybe this Dodgers team is just taking it easy until the playoffs, and then they're going to unleash everything. But I think that's kind of partially what the Phillies tried to do last year, and they ran into a hot team and they lost in the NLDS to their division rival. Baseball is not a sport where you can just, save everything and just hope everything that should happen will happen in the playoffs, because quite frankly, usually it doesn't. The Dodgers are playing bad baseball at the wrong time, and the Phillies are playing good baseball at the right time. Big trade deadline acquisitions. Joan Duran has been incredible for this Phillies team since coming over here, but I just did kind of want to give a quick little spotlight here to Harrison Bader. He's been an absolute spark plug for this team. Harrison Bader has had 6 starts with the Phillies that he hasn't logged a hit. Harrison Bader has had 6 games with the Phillies with at least 3 hits. He has the same amount of no-hit games as he has 3+ games. Bader, last night, speaking to reporters after the game, said, "I have a lot of gratitude for the Twins dealing me here. I'm grateful that they did right by me and allowed me to play meaningful baseball. I think the gratitude is the thing that I'm most overwhelmed with, because there will be a point, hopefully it's after winning the World Series, where it all comes to an end. So it's just important to embrace it." And he has embraced it. The city has embraced him. The team has embraced him. He has been just absolutely incredible. He's hitting .333 in 33 games with the Phillies with a .932 OPS, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. Once again, 6 3+ hit games. He obviously has a ton of 2-hit games in there as well. He's been a godsend, and it's worked. The platoon has worked, and Bader has played so well that it's turned into a corner outfield platoon, with Bader being the everyday center fielder, right? Marsh is crushing righties right now. He plays left field against righties. Weston Wilson is holding his own against lefties at the same time. He's out there in left field versus lefties. Right field, Castellanos and Kepler. Max Kepler's been swinging a really hot bat recently. Nick Castellanos went through a bit of a rough stretch here. Yeah, he has been turning it around the last few games. Some hits, some really big hits so far in this Mets series. A home run the other night. He's starting to find it again. This outfield that we were worried about, middle of this season, has really, really found their stride, and I think it's big. They're winning these games in a time where Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper aren't necessarily really doing a ton right now. Harper's been struggling a little bit at the plate. Kyle Schwarber, from the night that he hit 4 home runs on, was 5 for 39 before his 50th Schwarbomb on Tuesday night. The 2 stars of your team are struggling. Trey Turner might not return in the regular season. You have Trey out. You have Schwarber and Harper aren't hitting, great at the time. Hopefully, they're just saving it up for the postseason, and they'll get hot with 3-4 games left in the regular season and then carry it over. But everyone's doing their part right now. The rotation looks great. One more shout out really quick to Ranger Suarez, because Ranger Suarez has completely turned it around. A pitcher that has, faltered in the second half of each season. Over his last 5 starts, 30.2 innings, 3 earned runs, 39 strikeouts, and just 6 walks for a .89 ERA. It's big that the Phillies get this first round bye. It's the biggest scenario right now. Once again, the magic number for that spot is 14. And they want that bye. They want to be able to reset their rotation, and they want, to bring home baseball to Philadelphia and get these fans ready, give them a break, let these teams duke it out in the wild card round, and sit here and play good baseball like the team that they are. They need this first round bye, resetting the rotation, getting everything going, right? And then they get into the decision of who are those 3 starters. Christopher Sanchez is going to start game 1. Right now, I think Ranger Suarez may start game 2. What do they want to do with Luzardo? What do they want to do with Nola, right? Jesus Luzardo has looked good over the last few weeks. Aaron Nola had that great start. They have options, but it's so important that they get that first round bye. Really quick, final record predictions. If you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys watching. I want to ask really quick, I want you to drop down in the comments. The Phillies are currently 85-60 with 17 games left. I want you to drop your final record prediction for the regular season. Will they get the first round bye, and their final record prediction? This has been the newest episode of Phillies Digest here. My name is Luke Arcaini, and I will see you guys next time.